This is an extremely mysterious door. There is nothing to be seen when peeking from outside the door. However, after the ordinary middle school boy Shen Ye opened this door, behind it was hiding an otherworldly space beyond imagination. With a strong sense of curiosity, Shen Ye cautiously stepped inside. But before he could even stand firmly, a sinister and terrifying skeletal monster suddenly appeared before his eyes. Its stark white skeleton and dark hollow eye sockets instantly overwhelmed Shen Ye with a tidal wave of fear. Terrified, his face turned pale as he bolted out. After he hurriedly dashed out and quickly shut the door behind him. Strangely, the door instantly vanished without a trace. At that moment, an abrupt voice resounded in his ear. "Congratulations, human. You have awakened the ability to connect worlds." Shen Ye's face was filled with astonishment as his eyes widened. Frightened, he looked around desperately, trying to find the source of the voice, but there was not a single soul in sight. The voice spoke again. Its tone was tinged with urgency. "Don't be nervous. I am trapped in another world. At this moment, I am communicating with you through thoughts. Listen carefully. The time for interdimensional communication is limited. If you don't want to die, then obediently do as I say. In order to protect yourself." Shen Ye could only suppress the panic within him. Following the instructions, he opened his backpack and took out a strangely shaped statue. The voice then explained, "This is the cursed statue of the king of the fallen demons. Someone deliberately placed it by your side to cast a vicious curse upon you, with the intent to kill you and steal your soul. But you survived by sheer luck." At the same time, a torrent of unfamiliar memories surged into Shen Ye's mind. It turned out that the original owner of this body was also named Shen Ye, a middle school student. His soul had long been erased by the statue, and the male protagonist, who had died suddenly from overworking on Earth, had his soul transmigrate by a twist of fate, seamlessly taking control of this body. The mysterious voice continued, "If this curse fails to kill its target, it will reverse its effect, granting you the accumulated power it has amassed over millions of years. Now call forth the door once more." No sooner had the words fallen, the statue instantly turned to dust. The door that had vanished reappeared. The mysterious voice informed Shen Ye that this door now belonged to him. He had successfully awakened the unique ability to connect worlds, and the world he had inadvertently stumbled into was called the Nightmare World. Meanwhile, he was trapped in the depths of the Nightmare World. The mysterious voice pleaded with Shen Ye to become stronger and come rescue it, not forgetting to remind him, "Under no circumstances must you die before then. After all, once the mastermind behind the cursed statue learns that you are still alive, they will surely send more assassins to eradicate you." Soon after, the mysterious voice completely faded away, as if it had never appeared at all. Shen Ye's expression turned so grave that it seemed as though water could drip from it, filled with helplessness and bitterness. He never expected that he would fall into such a desperate situation immediately after transmigration. Shrouded tightly by the shadow of death, he carefully searched through the memories of the original owner, trying to figure out who intended to put him to death. But in the end, he found nothing. Just then, a marvelous crystal silently appeared. It popped up a prompt: "Because you behaved extremely politely when you entered the door last time, you have been awarded the appraisal attribute, Polite Person, Gray Broken Attribute. Equip this appraisal attribute, and you will receive the following boon. When you act politely, others will have a slightly better impression of you." Staring at the prompt, Shen Ye pondered silently to himself. This so-called attribute seems just like a passive skill that can be equipped in a game. With that thought, a bold idea flashed through his mind. "Enter the door and see if you can acquire a new attribute to become even stronger." With that thought in mind, Shen Ye once again gently opened the door to the other world. His movements were so gentle as if he feared disturbing something. Then he walked inside slowly and cautiously. His heart leapt to his throat. Barely upon entering, he saw the skeletal monster staring intently at him. Its eerie eye sockets seemed to emit endless chill. Shen Ye took a deep breath. He forced a smile that he thought looked friendly. He very politely began to introduce himself. "Hello, my name is Shen Ye." But the skeleton remained unresponsive. It just stood there silently, like a cold, lifeless statue. Shen Ye's heart calmed a bit. He felt that the attribute seemed to be working. Then, mustering up courage, he continued, "I'm truly sorry. I apologize for disturbing your meal earlier. I actually would love to be friends with you." But before he could finish speaking, the skeleton suddenly attacked. A sharp claw, accompanied by the sound of rushing wind, swiftly lunged at him. Shen Ye's reaction was not slow. He awkwardly retreated, narrowly evading the deadly strike. His heart pounded in terror. He couldn't help but let out a curse. "Damn it, don't be so violent. I only wanted to talk to you." Yet in the very next moment, the skeleton completely ignored his pleas. It smashed the door to pieces with a powerful palm strike. Shen Ye failed to dodge in time and fell out from the door. He tumbled in a disheveled heap. Fortunately, once the door is destroyed, it automatically disappears, saving him from further trouble. He eagerly anticipated that he might acquire a new attribute this time. Instead, a cold prompt popped up: "You can only obtain an appraisal attribute once per day." So he failed today. But Shen Ye was not one to give up easily. Assassins could appear at any moment. He had to become stronger by the second. So he summoned the world door once again. Wearing a smile like that of a professional salesperson, he loudly shouted, "Excuse me, I'm back again." With his words, the door slowly opened. Before he could see clearly what was inside, a skeletal mouth full of blood instantly came close. It bit the door to pieces in one bite. Seeing this, Shen Ye hurriedly opened the door from the other side and went in, not forgetting to tease, "Useless. You can't get me. I can traverse between two worlds at will. Let's have a proper chat." The skeleton seemed to realize realized that the boy's words were not false. After a brief hesitation it chose to turn and leave. Seeing this, panic seized Shen Ye's heart. He quickly shouted loudly, "Wait, you're injured, right? When you were eating people, the broken part of your left arm was slowly growing new bones. Not just your left arm, your skull, rib, spine, and many other parts were injured." Upon hearing this, the skeleton actually stopped in its tracks. Seeing an opportunity, Shen Ye quickly took out his phone and shook it. With a sincere expression he said, "Although I can't let you eat me, but our world has many things that are beneficial for bones. For example, these calcium tablets, which are specifically for treating bone issues. Besides, there are many supplements, which are far more nutritious than me. If we were friends, I could help you buy them. After all, there's an old saying in our world, you would cut open your ribs for a friend, not to mention buying some calcium tablets. I think for you, cutting open your ribs wouldn't be a problem." In the next moment, the skeleton's actions left Shen Ye utterly shocked. It directly condensed a purple sphere, which carrying an imposing aura flew swiftly toward Shen Ye. Shen Ye was so frightened that his soul seemed to leave his body. Without a word, he immediately hid behind the door, but after waiting for a moment, the anticipated attack did not come. He cautiously peeked his head out, only to see a contract emanating a mysterious aura flying toward him. Shen Ye heaved a sigh of relief. So it was a contract. It scared me to death. Then Shen Ye looked closely and saw on the contract that you have received a contract. The signee is the mother of the Dark Bones, a subordinate defeated by the king of the corpse demons, and democratic Mik Tikahiva, the registrar of the 5th battlefield of the skeletal army. Shen Ye couldn't help but mutter to himself, what a ridiculously long title. And in the end he turned out to be just a tiny official no bigger than a sesame seed or a mung bean. The skeleton then said, "This is a contract of equal exchange. Human, I hope you can help me restore my strength. I never sign contracts with beings other than deities, so you had better understand the value of this contract. This is a fair deal. If either party is dissatisfied, either party can cancel it at any time." Shen Ye thought for a moment, considering that he was now isolated and without support. Having an ally is always a good thing, so without hesitation he signed his name. Immediately afterward, an automatic signature introduction was generated below. The gatekeeper of nightmares and reality, the sole controller of the two realms space. Shen Ye was a bit stunned when he read the introduction about himself. He never expected that after transmigration he would have such an impressive sounding identity. The contract was finalized. The two parties officially formed an alliance. The next day Shen Ye recalled that in his previous life as an orphan, he had never experienced parental care. Yet now the parents of this body cared for him deeply. His heart was filled with warmth. He had his mother buy him many supplements, preparing to fulfill his pact with the skeleton. While he was busy, suddenly someone knocked on the door. The knocking was rapid and carried a hint of authority. When Shen Ye opened the door and walked two police officers, they first carefully inquired about Shen Ye's physical condition, their eyes filled with concern. Then they expressed their apologies, stating that many similar bizarre incidents occur every year. The police were also helpless despite their intentions. There was really nothing they could do. In the end, they did not forget to comfort Shen Ye, telling him to relax, that everything would be fine. Shen Ye gave a bitter smile. Only he knew well that the original Shen Ye had long since met his end. Now this body housed a soul from another world. At that moment, the young police officer who had remained silent finally spoke. His voice was steady and gentle. "Shen, my friend, I know you must be feeling bad inside, but I have something to tell you. It has already been approved from above. That hospital will soon be abandoned, and no one will be allowed to enter it again. Rest assured, no new victims will appear." Shen Ye looked up, catching a glimpse of the 3 stars shining on the badge. He was surprised. He never expected someone so young to become a chief. He composed himself and replied politely, "Thank you for telling me this. I was just afraid that someone might target me." The chief furrowed his brows slightly. Looking at him with determined eyes, he said, "You are just a middle school student. Your social ties are very simple. We have investigated and found no evidence that you have any such enemies." After saying this, the two of them took their leave. Shen Ye stood in place, lost in thought. Through this conversation, he increasingly realized how tricky the curse of the king of the fallen demons was. Even the police were at a loss. The government was also deeply troubled, but he racked his brains. He turned the original owner's memories upside down, yet he couldn't figure out who exactly would resort to such vicious means against an ordinary middle school student. However, before long, the young police chief Luo Feishing returned again. He hurriedly handed Shen Ye a business card. With a grave expression, he advised Shen Ye that if anything seemed amiss, he should call him immediately. Shen Ye accepted the card. Looking at the name on it, his heart filled with doubt and confusion. He secretly wondered about this Luo Feishing. Could he really be trusted? Could he truly help him? It was evident that he hadn't completely followed the instructions on the card. Yet neither the police station nor the government had any solution for this matter. After all, what could a minor police chief do? Moreover, the fact that he was still alive had surely spread far and wide. The assassin would undoubtedly not let it rest. A single misstep might even endanger his family. With this in mind, Shen Ye no longer hesitated. He waved his hand and directly summoned the World Gate. He knew well that only by quickly becoming stronger could he find a sliver of hope in this perilous situation. The gate slowly opened. A smile as charming as a gold medal salesman's appeared on Shen Ye's face. He shouted at the top of his lungs, "Is the big skeleton there?" Seconds later, the figure of the skeleton gradually appeared. Seeing this, Shen Ye quickly pulled out some calcium tablets from his bag and shook them with a smile. "Here are the calcium tablets you asked for. I got them for you. But the skeleton was more interested in the items in his pocket. It pointed with its hand. In the next moment, a mysterious green glow appeared in its hand. As the light flickered, it slowly coalesced into a green crystal. The skeleton began to explain. The other party desires a superior tonic from you. As a battlefield collector, I have selected from the confiscated spoils this relic from an enemy soldier intending to trade it with you. This is a level 1 nightmare crystal. It is an item crafted by the high elves who were once enemies of the big skeleton. It can directly impart certain knowledge, skills, or information into the user's mind. Shen Ye's heart stirred. That sounds like a good thing, he thought. Without hesitation, he reached out, took the crystal, and gently crushed it. Instantly a surge of mighty energy rushed in. He felt his mind filled with a multitude of unfamiliar information. Moments later, he astonishingly acquired a marvelous combat technique, Moonlit Stride. Shen Ye learned that this was the primary movement skill on which the elven soldiers relied for survival. It allows the user to dodge agilely, charge forward swiftly, and maneuver skillfully in battle. Its effectiveness in combat is exceptional. Shen Ye was overjoyed. He never expected that a Wuji Baifeng pill would exchange for such a practical elven technique. Now he finally had the basic means for self-protection. Meanwhile, calcium tablets continued to fly out from the bag in an endless stream. They converged into the skeleton's hands. Then the skeleton vanished into the darkness with the tablets, as if going to enjoy a feast. Seeing this, Shen Ye couldn't help but remark, even when eating it's so shy. Then he closed the door, planning to settle down and study the newly acquired Moonlit Stride technique carefully. After some diligent study, Shen Ye realized that although the technique was exquisite, it demanded a high level of physical fitness. It required a minimum agility score of 3 to use. A thought occurred to him. He silently muttered to check his physical attributes. Instantly a pop-up window appeared. It showed that his agility was only 2. He was short by 1 point of agility to perform the technique. Shen Ye clicked his tongue and silently sighed. This really feels like playing a game. I even have to grind for stats. While Shen Ye was racking his brain on how to boost his agility, suddenly a dark silhouette hung upside down outside the window like a ghost. Soon after, a cold voice echoed, I didn't expect you to still be alive. Let me see what skills you really have. With that, the man wielding a sharp blade rushed towards Shen Ye, enveloped in a chilling murderous intent. Shen Ye reacted fairly quickly. Thanks to his recent improvement in physical strength, he narrowly dodged the fierce attack with a swift sidestep. But before he could catch his breath, he saw the assassin's gun aimed directly at him. The dark barrel resembled the gaze of death. The aura of death swept over him. At the critical moment, the crystal suddenly flashed a prompt. It turned out that one could consume a stat entry to gain higher attributes. Shen Ye was both surprised and delighted. He couldn't help but let out a curse. Damn it, why didn't you say so earlier? Without much time to think, he immediately consumed that inferior polite person stat entry decisively. In an instant, a warm surge flowed through his entire body. He gained 1 precious attribute point. At the crucial moment, relying on this newly acquired attribute, Shen Ye executed the still somewhat unskilled Moonlit Stride, narrowly evading danger once more. Yet he knew well that his strength was vastly inferior to that of the assassin. A head-on confrontation was far from wise. Thus, seizing the opportunity, he directly fled inside the gate. But the assassin was not one to give up easily. He pursued relentlessly. However, upon entering, he was dumbfounded. Before his eyes lay a labyrinthine secret passage. Shen Ye hid behind the door, watching the assassin's miserable state, unable to help but laugh heartily. Goodbye, Mr. Assassin. The assassin, humiliated and enraged, was about to give chase once more when a sinister, eerie howl came from behind him. It turned out that a skeletal monster had pounced, brandishing its claws. Leaning against the door, Shen Ye gasped heavily. Using this technique for the first time, his stamina was greatly taxed. It left him utterly breathless, but the thought that more assassins would come relentlessly in the future made him realize that he couldn't afford to stop even for a moment. He had to keep getting stronger without pause. At that moment, the Covenant crystal suddenly lit up. A line of prompt appeared. Because your recently sacrificed creature pleased the other party. Following the principle of equivalent exchange, the other party produced the items for exchange and received the Covenant's approval. The exchanged items were the Crown of Pale Shadows and the Silver War Emblem. The former could disguise one as an elven life form, while the latter could teleport one to elven territories. Shen Ye was both surprised and delighted again. He never expected that he would obtain 2 high-quality green-grade equipments in one go. This was undoubtedly a godsend for him at that moment. Curiously, he picked up the crown and gently placed it on his head. In the very next second, something magical happened. He transformed into a dashing, beautiful elven gentleman. Staring at his new appearance, Shen Ye couldn't help but marvel. Damn, I never thought I'd actually become an elf. Seems like after tomorrow's stat refresh, they'll have to loot the elven territory. But before he could recover from his astonishment, the door was suddenly knocked upon. The knocking was rapid. Shen Ye's heart tightened. He wondered silently, could the assassin have returned? But then immediately, a familiar voice reached him. It was Chen Haoyu. Only then did Shen Ye recall that this was the original owner's best buddy. That day, Shen Ye had gone to the hospital just to visit the injured him, but as a result, he had been cursed and fallen into a coma for several days. Shen Ye opened the door. Without a word, Chen Haoyu tightly embraced him. Crying uncontrollably, he kept apologizing non-stop. It's all my fault that you got cursed. Brother, you must get better. At that moment, his mother also arrived with carefully prepared tonic pills. She came over with a face full of concern. concern. Shen Ye looked at the precious tonic pill in shock. Shen Ye, your family has some serious resources. Such tonic pills cannot be bought merely with money. At the same time, he reminded Shen Ye to take good care of his health. Get well soon and come back for the entrance exam. When Shen Ye heard the word entrance exam, he suddenly remembered that the original owner was still a middle school student. Now he was going through the great life test that was the entrance exam. Due to the previous curse, Shen Ye had missed the first exam while in the hospital. From the original owner's memories, Shen Ye learned that the entrance exam in this world was completely different from what he experienced in his past life. In addition to the conventional assessment of academic knowledge, it also tested the Buddha's strength and agility. This is what they call attributes. No wonder the moonlit stride required agility. He silently pondered, but when he thought that he was now being chased by an assassin, going to school would undoubtedly expose him to danger. If the assassin struck at school, not only would his own life be at risk, but it could also endanger innocent classmates. Although if he proposed to forego the exam, his mother would surely agree. He simply couldn't do that. Deep within the original owner's memories, he discovered that his grandfather and family seemed to have a significant background, yet his parents were not on good terms with the family. They had never sought his grandfather's help. Even so, his parents still humbly begged his grandfather for this precious tonic pill for him. Unfortunately, their son was no longer among the living. Now that he had taken over this body, he absolutely could not let them down again. With that in mind, the next day Shen Ye resolutely returned to school. Throughout the journey, he was extremely cautious, constantly alert to any movements around him. When he arrived at school, he discovered that the school taught all kinds of wondrous cultivation techniques. He reasoned that with so many people and many eyes, the assassin probably wouldn't dare to show up recklessly. Moreover, if he could enter a better high school with excellent grades, perhaps he would receive protection from more formidable teachers. This would add an extra layer of safety. Just then a classmate hurried over, informing Shen Ye that Lu Yibing was waiting for him in the corridor, saying she had something to discuss with him. Shen Ye searched through the original owner's memories and recalled that this girl was the original owner's ex-girlfriend. Previously, she had pestered the original owner daily about studying, but now when Shen Ye saw Lu Yibing, he keenly sensed that her attitude was unusually cold. Lu Yibing gave him a glance and spoke in a detached tone. I heard you're back preparing for the exams. I did well in my first exam. Am confident about the remaining subjects as well. I should be able to get into a key school. Just as Shen Ye was about to congratulate her, Lu Yibing immediately retorted, let's break up. Don't ever contact me again. Now you've missed one exam. Even if your previous grades were excellent, you can only get into an ordinary high school. Sooner or later, differences in social class will erode any common ground. So let's just cut ties completely now. ITLL, save us trouble later. Saying that, she took out her phone. Right in front of Shen Ye, she deleted all his contact information. The original owner was an honest, good-natured person. But who was Shen Ye? He was someone who had been tempered by society, a soul that had traversed from Earth. How could he tolerate such humiliation? Without showing any weakness, Shen Ye immediately retorted at Lu Yibing. I remember that over the years you've always been pestering our class to come find me. I have never been the one to seek you out, have I? I never intended to be friends with you in the first place. The exams are coming soon. I hope you stick to your word. Don't keep harassing me in the future. You're interfering with my study. As soon as the bystanders heard this, they immediately understood what was going on. They all turned their accusations toward Lu Yibing. Previously, when Shen Ye was the top student in the grade, she would pester him every day. Now, because he missed an exam subject, she immediately draws a clear line. This is just too realistic. A complete trash girl indeed. Everyone chimed in with their 2 cents. They made Lu Yibing's face turn pale and red in alternation. Seeing that the situation was unfavorable, Lu Yibing's best friend started scolding in a loud voice. Bing Bing has given you quite a few gifts, and you speak to her like this. You are so disappointing. Lu Yibing's eyes brimmed with tears as she choked up softly and said, Shen Ye, I thought we were friends. But Shen Ye just sneered, not buying any of it. This pathetic act of playing the victim doesn't work on me. Lu Yibing, I have accepted your gifts, but accepting gifts doesn't mean I'm accepting you. If you truly have my best interests at heart, you shouldn't be binding me with gifts. I always have the right to pursue someone better. With that, Shen Ye turned and walked away nonchalantly, not forgetting to give her the middle finger. That gesture clearly meant, sister, I'm not serving you anymore. Her best friend was so enraged that she flew into a rage. She cursed Shen Ye as a real scumbag. The surrounding classmates all started discussing. They joined the school beauty in blaming Shen Ye. Only the school beauty, Lu Yibing, stood there, feeling indescribably miserable inside. Even though everyone was speaking on her behalf, somehow, she was the one who initiated the breakup. But now it felt like she was the one being dumped by Shen Ye. That feeling was as disgusting as swallowing a fly. At that moment, a tall and muscular boy stood in front with an angry face blocking Shen Ye's path. Shen Ye recognized him as Sun Ming III in the grade. Stop! Bing Bing hasn't let you leave yet. Sun Ming glared at Shen Ye furiously. That look seemed as if he wanted to tear him apart alive. He raised his fist and waved it in the air. You little brat, if you don't apologize to Bing Bing today, don't expect to leave here unscathed. And besides, my strength has surged recently. The top spot in the grade now belongs to me. It's no longer yours. Son, you got it wrong, didn't you? It was Lu Yibing who called me, not that I was pestered by her. Sigh, forget it. Apologize, then apologize. Saying this, Shen Ye turned to Lu Yibing again. His expression was as aggrieved as could be. I'm sorry. You've won, Lu Yibing. You can continue to harass me. Are you satisfied now? After speaking, he feigned a few tears. Then clutching his heart, he ran off while crying. The surrounding classmates showed sympathy upon seeing this. Shen Ye actually cried. He looked so heartbroken. Yes, Lu Yibing went too far this time. Even Lu Yibing herself couldn't help but speak up in explanation. I never intended to force Shen Ye. But as soon as the words left her mouth, she realized something was wrong. Internally, she cursed. This is terrible. What am I even saying? Why would I say that I never forced you? It's all that idiot Sun Ming who made me lose my head. Sun Ming originally came with all his passion to support Lu Yibing, but who would have thought he ended up being blamed instead? He harbored a raging fire inside with nowhere to vent it. He could only take it out on Shen Ye. Seeing Shen Ye trying to run, he roared and raised his fist. Like a frenzied bull, he charged at Shen Ye. However, just as his fist was about to land, Shen Ye dodged in a flash. Like a nimble swallow, he performed a beautiful flip backward. This move not only allowed him to easily dodge Sun Ming's powerful blow, but also showcased his astonishing speed and agility. The surrounding classmates, upon witnessing this, were so astonished that their eyes nearly popped out. Is this the speed a middle schooler can muster? Everyone exchanged whispers, completely incredulous. Shen Ye landed steadily. He patted the non-existent dust off his body and spoke slowly. I've already apologized. Why are you still so aggressive? A glint of cold light flashed in his eyes. Thinking that if it weren't for the fact that this is a school, and we couldn't cause too much of a scene, he was determined to teach that insolent Sun Ming a lesson. Just as Shen Ye was about to make a move, the homeroom teacher's booming voice suddenly rang out from behind him. What are you all gathering here for? We have a mock exam about to begin. Hurry up and gather on the playground. Upon hearing this, the classmates reluctantly dispersed. While leaving, they lamented what a pity, almost missing the showdown between the former top student and the current top student. Sun Ming was also unwilling. He glared fiercely at Shen Ye, uttering a threat. This isn't over. After school meet in a small grove, soon all the students gathered on the playground. Shen Ye was also doing warm-up exercises for the upcoming exam. His close friend Chen Haoyu noticed his eyes light up. He secretly leaned over and whispered, while we're in line, why don't we sneak in a game? Upon hearing this, a sudden idea flashed through Shen Ye's mind. Right, we haven't grabbed today's entry yet. He immediately clutched his stomach, feigning extreme pain. Oh, my stomach feels awful. I need to take a dump. Saying this, Shen Ye briskly walked towards an empty teaching building. Then, taking advantage of the absence of attention, he swiftly dashed into the restroom. However, as soon as he entered, a sneaky little black kid quietly followed him. That little kid held a sharp knife tightly in his hand. The blade shimmered with a strange pale purple light under the dim lights. It was obvious that it had been coated with potent poison. The little kid felt secretly triumphant inside. Kid, let's see how you escape this time. Saying that, he tiptoed into the restroom, but as soon as he entered, the little kid was dumbfounded. The restroom was eerily quiet. There wasn't a single person in sight. Even the latrines were completely empty, not a hair in sight. Damn it, did this kid fall into the latrine? I clearly just saw him enter. The little kid searched the restroom suspiciously all around. Little did he know Shen Ye had already passed through the world gate. After entering, Shen Ye found himself in the inner space of the gate. Once inside, he discovered that today's big skeleton was nowhere to be found. He shouted at the top of his lungs for a long while without any response. Just as he was growing anxious, he suddenly stepped on something hard. Looking down, it turned out to be the gun that the assassin dropped last time. Shen Ye bent down and picked up the gun. Upon close inspection, he found that it still had some bullets left. His heart leapt with joy, although he had never used such a thing before. But if he goes to the elven territory later, at least he has something to defend himself with. It gives him a bit more confidence. It seems that today's big skeleton is not around. No time to waste. Better head to the territory first. Saying this, a sudden flash of blue teleportation light shimmered beneath his feet. The light grew more and more intense. It looked like the teleportation was about to start. Just then, a familiar voice sounded in his ear. Human, I truly have no more power to help you. Take this. Shen Ye felt the lightness in his hand. Looking down, he saw a strangely designed token appear in his hand. He recognized the voice as that of the man who had saved him at the beginning. But in the next moment, the teleportation light burst forth. Shen Ye's figure instantly vanished from that spot. When he reappeared, he found himself in a strange and mysterious place. Before he could steady his footing, he was surrounded by three eerie undead beings who mistook him for their comrade Phelan, just because they were wearing silver crowns identical to Shen Ye's. A feeling of dread arose in Shen Ye's heart, but before he could make a move, the three undead had already closed in on him. One of the undead in a gruff voice said to him, "You finally arrived. Our plan is to disguise ourselves as heroic soldiers who have been injured and withdrawn from the war. Then infiltrate the elven tribe and kill their chieftain to seize the treasures of the elves. Prepare yourself and we shall act immediately." Shen Ye dared not resist lightly. He knew very well in his heart that if his identity were exposed now, these powerful undead would undoubtedly tear him to pieces without hesitation. Thus he could only feign calm, clutch touch his silver crown and nod, indicating that he was ready. Little did he know, his action nearly made the three undead almost pee their pants in fear, because in their eyes, if this silver crown were removed revealing the undead identity, they would be completely doomed. Not only would their mission fail, but their own lives would be at risk as well. For that, Shen Ye mentally cursed the entire ancestry of the big skeleton. It seems that this big skeleton is the Phelan they speak of. Now this is just great. He had inexplicably been dragged into a conflict between the undead and the elves. Soon the three undead took Shen Ye and quickly hurried into the elven village. All the way Shen Ye was panting from exhaustion. The speed of these undead was extremely fast. He had to exert all his strength just to barely keep up. It was evident that these undead were no ordinary beings. Before he knew it, it was already evening. At this moment Shen Ye was utterly exhausted. My legs felt as heavy as if they were filled with lead. They finally arrived at the elven leader's location, because to enter the village one must obtain the leader's permission. Of course they intended for Shen Ye to undertake this assassination mission. If Shen Ye had the chance to kill the leader, that would be ideal. If not, he was to display his identification badge. First blend in. Meanwhile the three of them would provide cover outside. Upon hearing this, Shen Ye felt utterly unwilling, yet he dared not show it. He silently lamented, isn't this just pushing me into a pit of fire? But at this point resistance was useless. After all, he was doomed anyway. Might as well go in and assess the situation. After seeing Shen Ye's badge, the elven guard courteously brought him inside. Since he was regarded as the returning hero, Shen Ye attracted the admiring glances of many elven maidens along the way. Wow, look, it's the hero returning from the front lines. So young, he must be very brave. Yet hearing all these praises, Shen Ye's heart was filled with bitterness. He knew deep down that he was merely an imposter. If he were discovered, the consequences would be unthinkable. Ahead lay the leader's domain. The three undead stated they would rest at the gate and wait for Shen Ye to go in. In short, it was to prevent Shen Ye from making an escape. Resigned, Shen Ye had no choice but to press forward. Damn it, he was inexplicably dragged into this conflict. But on the bright side, if by any chance he succeeded in the assassination, maybe he could gain some powerful attributes. Shen Ye comforted himself. But when he finally saw the elven chieftain, that absurd thought vanished instantly. The elven chieftain exuded an overwhelming aura that took one's breath away. Every gesture radiated the demeanor of a king. Using the innate ability of his comet attributes, Shen Ye immediately discerned that the chieftain possessed numerous powerful large purple attributes. Meanwhile, he himself had only a single gray polite person attribute. The disparity was simply worlds apart. Facing such a formidable opponent, attempting assassination was out of the question. It would be nothing but a death sentence. The elven chieftain seemed unaware of Shen Ye's peculiarities. He smiled as he looked at Shen Ye, uttering a few phrases in elven that Shen Ye couldn't understand. Then switching to the common tongue, he praised, "Young and brave soldier, thank you for your contribution. Please rest well in our village for now." After saying that with a sweeping gesture, Shen Ye's vision blurred for a moment, and he was instantly teleported to a victory banquet. At that moment the other three undead also arrived at this place. Seeing that Shen Ye was safe, they felt somewhat relieved. Then they huddled over and whispered to him, "That chieftain will come out to the banquet later. Take your chance when he lets his guard down and strike, while we provide cover." At that moment a beautiful and enchanting elven maiden stepped forward. Her cheeks flushed, her eyes filled with admiration and shyness. She slightly bowed and extended an invitation to Shen Ye. "Hero, it is my honor to dance with you. Would you be so kind as to accept?" Shen Ye thought, "I don't know how to dance." He awkwardly waved his hand, saying, "I cannot dance." But the elven maiden was undeterred, gently taking his hand and tenderly saying, "It's all right, I can teach you." Soon under her patient guidance, Shen Ye gradually learned some basic dance steps. The two danced gracefully in the ballroom, with elegant movements and joyful music, momentarily allowing Shen Ye to forget the peril he was in. His heart was filled with delight. But unfortunately he was about to face death soon. If it weren't for all these damn matters, and dancing passionately with such an elven lady, life would be a sheer delight. Shen Ye silently sighed within. After the dance ended, the elven maiden noticed that Shen Ye appeared somewhat gloomy, and she asked with concern, "You haven't said a word. Are you unhappy? And what about your three brothers?" They too remained silent. Could it be that the front was too brutal, affecting your spirit? Suddenly a clever idea for escape struck Shen Ye, and he smiled at the elven maiden and said, "Now that I know your name is Lanny, I would like to perform a magic trick for you all." At her hearing this, her eyes instantly sparkled like two stars, excitedly clapping her hands in approval. "Wonderful, the hero is going to perform a magic trick for us. I've never seen one before." Saying this, she blushed as she removed an exquisite bracelet from her wrist and handed it to Shen Ye. "This is a token of my affection. I hope you like it." Gratefully Shen Ye accepted the bracelet. He raised his hand and shouted loudly, "Dear friends, everyone look at me. Next I will perform a magic trick that you have never seen before. That is a great metamorphosis. I can transform myself into a human." Upon hearing this, the elves became extremely excited, rushing over with eyes full of anticipation. Only the other three undead wore expressions of complete bewilderment. They wondered why would Farron have such sorcery. However, the fellow was indeed smart, using this method to quickly infiltrate the elves. Shen Ye took a deep breath and touched the silver crown on his head. He said mysteriously, "Watch carefully." Saying so, he slowly removed the silver crown, and in an instant his form began to change, transforming back into his human appearance. "This crown is for you, beautiful Miss Lanny." Smiling, Shen Ye handed the silver crown to the elven maiden. Seeing this, the elves cheered and jumped jumped for joy, each praising Shen Ye's prowess. Lanny received the crown with eyes full of astonishment. "Thank you. Please change back quickly." But Shen Ye wore a look of helplessness, saying, "This is troublesome, because I can transform into a human, but only when I remove this crown." Saying this, he pointed at the three undead and raised his voice. "My three brothers can perform this magic as well. They just need to remove their crowns to transform into undead." At the mention of undead, the elves instantly regarded them as formidable foes. The previously joyous atmosphere instantly turned icy. Everyone quickly grabbed their weapons, aiming their spears at the three undead. At that moment, Shen Ye seized the opportunity to summon the Gate of Worlds, waving goodbye to Miss Lanny in the distance, and quickly entered the portal world. At that moment, the elves had no time to pay attention to the suddenly appearing portal, their hearts filled with anger, wanting nothing more than to capture these brazen undead first. In the next moment, thick vines burst out of the ground one after another, swiftly ensnaring the undead like serpents. Soon after, an immensely majestic voice echoed in the air. "It is you all, the traitors of the undead clan." The elven chieftain glared at the trapped undead with eyes blazing with fury, initially intending to toy with them a bit more. "But alas, you undead aim to infiltrate my village. Yet little did you expect that the human race had already infiltrated your ranks, even to the extent of controlling your mission." How ironic. The leading undead even tried to explain that there had been a misunderstanding, claiming they possessed badges. But before they could finish speaking, the elven chieftain waved his hand, and the silver crowns atop their heads were removed, simultaneously revealing the undead's true forms. These crowns carried high-level shadow magic from the dark abyss, which was constant. It was truly beyond my expectations. Every village had infiltrators from the undead clan, but with this tangible proof, we could identify their weaknesses and counter them. Come to think of it, this time I really owe that human kid a favor. The elven chieftain looked thoughtfully in the direction where Shen Ye had disappeared, while Lanny gazed in the direction of Shen Ye's vanishing, her eyes filled with both loss and hope. Would he come back? Meanwhile, Shen Ye returned from the elven territory in a harrowing manner, plopping down on the ground and panting heavily. The situation earlier was extremely perilous. He resolved never to undertake such dangerous tasks again. He murmured to himself, still haunted by the ordeal. In the next moment, Shen Ye recalled the mastermind behind it all, the Great Skeleton, and his anger surged uncontrollably. He stood up and stormed off to confront the Great Skeleton. "Great Skeleton, get out here!" The Great Skeleton seemed to have expected this, and appeared slowly, gazing at Shen Ye's furious expression, with a hint of surprise, as if not expecting you to emerge alive. "It seems you are not without your talents." Hearing this, Shen Ye's anger flared even more. "So you can speak in human language? You damn thing. You deliberately gave me that pale shadow crown, intending for me to march to my death, right?" The Great Skeleton replied unhurriedly. "Don't be angry. Tell me in detail how you survived. I can pay you for it." Just as Shen Ye was about to sternly refuse, thinking that he was a man of principle, before he could utter a word, a stream of light flew towards the front of him. Shen Ye instinctively reached out to catch it. When he looked closely, it turned out to be a purple-black bead. The big skeleton explained, as an expression of apology, that he had transcended the principle of equivalent exchange, and decided to bestow upon you a Dream Nightmare Inheritance Crystal. Inside it contains 3 kinds of top-tier evolutionary undead talents. You can choose one to integrate into your soul, thereby acquiring its power. I managed to survive my injuries thanks to this crystal. They all want to obtain the inheritance within, which is why they never dealt me a fatal blow before. Now I give you this opportunity. Upon hearing this, Shen Ye felt his inner rage diminish by more than half, and he awkwardly scratched his head, remarking, "You sure know how to read people." In the next moment, a skeleton several meters tall appeared ahead, while 3 orbs of light floated in front as well. The big skeleton introduced, "Choose, for you may select one of these most ancient inherited talents to make your own. They are respectively called Dark Whisper, based on corpses, where the dead must respond to your call, climbing up from hell to truthfully relay what they know to you, so that their souls may finally rest in peace. The second is the Sacred Skeletal Form, which renders you immune to the fate of death for 5 seconds, and can be reactivated after 1 day. The third is Undead Resurrection, where you create a soul flame and place it on a fallen undead. The soul flame fuses with the corpse to revive it. There are many kinds of resurrection spells, but this is one of the most profound primordial mysteries that can bring the undead back to life. 5 seconds of invincibility may be strong, but what about after those 5 seconds? After much thought, Shen Ye still felt that the first option, Dark Whisper, was more practical, as it also allowed him to gather intelligence to quickly unmask those who wished to kill him. In the next moment, the green orb merged into his body, and Shen Ye seemed to feel the murmuring of the undead. The big skeleton was very curious about Shen Ye's choice, because in his memory, all the past undead lords had chosen either the third or the second option, since Dark Whisper could not quickly form combat power. Then Shen Ye faithfully recounted the elven tribe's matters as per the contract, and the big skeleton was shocked, for the original assassination target was supposed to be a female elven priestess, but according to the man Shen Ye just described, he turned out to be the strongest high priest of the elven tribe. No wonder he possessed so many rare and powerful talent attributes. Those 3 nightmare knights of the undead were captured by the elves, and they could no longer monitor or threaten me. This is my only chance. Having said that, the big skeleton excitedly turned and left, as if something major was about to happen. Seeing this, Shen Ye was too lazy to ask further, and immediately walked out the door. However, today he obtained a talent attribute attribute of green quality. Ally, when you tell the target hey you're one of us, they will treat you as one of their own for 10 seconds, and after 10 seconds they will forget everything that just happened. The talent can only be used once per day, along with a natural blessing bracelet, which was given to him by Lanny. Soon Shen Ye returned to the simulation exam scene, where his good brother Hao Yu had just arrived, and in an attempt to show off in front of me his brother, he became careless and failed the assessment. Chen Hao Yu scored 71. You should be grateful that this wasn't the official high school entrance exam, for after Hao Yu it would be Shen Ye's turn to be tested. However, this exam was rather trivial for the current Shen Ye, as a little elven footwork could easily allow him to dodge. Little did he know that this time he was being watched by a pair of distant eyes. That man had been specially invited by the principal, because Shen Ye is the top student in the school. Though missing one subject disappointed the principal a bit. Nonetheless, although the man thought Shen Ye's agility was decent, for them to make an exception, he would need to achieve a perfect score in mental power in the next round. Otherwise there's no way. But the principal remembered that Shen Ye's mental score was very low, which made things difficult. In the next moment the homeroom teacher tearfully shouted, Shen Ye, perfect agility. How great it would be if you hadn't missed a subject. Sob sob. After returning to the classroom, there remained another problem that troubled Shen Ye deeply, and that was the language and science knowledge being completely different from before, as if different memories were fighting in his mind. But then a pig's trotter kicked Shen Ye's desk away, and the culprit was none other than Sun Ming, Lu Yibing's top sycophant. This time he came to take revenge for Lu Yibing. Seeing this, Shen Ye decided to test the new talent Ally, thinking after all aren't we all allies. In the next moment everyone seemed to be possessed, and suddenly became extremely polite to Shen Ye, even saying that they had only helped Lu Yibing because they momentarily lost their senses. Soon after 10 seconds passed, everyone returned to normal. Shen Ye felt that this talent was rather useless, and immediately swallowed it to convert it into 3 attribute points. Friendly reminder, in addition to the 3 attribute points just obtained, you can also freely reclaim an attribute point that was once added to agility. Would you like to use it and add it to strength? It turns out you can do that. Shen Ye immediately added all his current 4 points to strength, but at that moment he was trapped by Ergo from behind. Kid, are you ready to have a few of your ribs broken? Then a fist as big as a punching bag flew toward Shen Ye's stomach, and it struck with one punch, resulting in Sun Ming's scream being the first to ring out. In the next second his hand swelled up like a pig's trotter, and several of his fingers twisted and contorted awkwardly. Today's commentary ends here. If you like Yang's commentary videos, please kindly give Yang's video a thumbs up.